So I saw Dune, and I have some thoughts. Just wait a few seconds, you'll know what I thought about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Dune is finally out in theaters and on HBO Max, and I was really excited to watch this movie because it was really delayed for a really long time. Now, as a point of reference, I'm not someone that's really familiar with the Dune source material. I've not read the books. I have not seen any of the previous movies. I'm pretty sure it's just one movie. I have not seen it. So this is my first time reading or watching anything related to Dune. So I'm not really well versed into the mythology. I'm not someone that has a lot of knowledge about Dune. So I'm someone that's just kind of going in for the first time. With that being said, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think of Dune, and what is your point of reference? Are you someone that's really familiar with the book, or are you someone like me that's kind of new and has never seen or read anything related to Dune? I'd love to know your thoughts. With that said, let's get started talking about what I thought about the movie. And I have to say, as someone that's not really familiar with the source material, I really ended up loving this movie. I think it exceeded my expectations in almost every single way possible. The biggest reason for this is that Denis Villeneuve is willing to kind of take his time and build up this world. There is a lot of world building, a lot of exposition, and a lot of storytelling in this movie, and I think they do a really good job of it. So even though it's really slow, it's still a movie I was invested in the entire time. I was sucked in and invested in the story of what's going on the entire way through the movie. So for me, the 2.5 hours really flew by. I did not feel like this was a long movie. It really felt short to me just because I was invested in the characters, I was invested in what was going on, and I was really enjoying the story that Denis Villeneuve was telling. Denis Villeneuve also explores different sides of the story, so you kind of see where each character is coming from. And because of that, when characters make certain choices or there's betrayals or something like that, it really feels impactful and you really care about what's happening. And because of that, I think that's what made this movie really enjoyable for me. And this is also not like most sci-fi movies these days where it's just a bunch of action and explosions and jokes and stuff. This movie actually has a lot of emotions, and it also incorporates rich themes about politics and all of that stuff. So it feels very mature in the story it's telling, and because of that, I really enjoyed the movie. Another reason I really cared about what was going on in this movie was the characters and the cast that was playing them. This movie has a star-studded cast. Literally everyone does a great job in their roles. Timothée Chalamet, of course, plays Paul Atreides, who's our main character here, and I think he did a fantastic job. I think he really brings to life the character of Paul really nicely, and he's a very complex character. He's not a one-note, straight-up good guy. He actually has a lot of different layers to him, and I really enjoyed that. We really see where he's coming from, and we are rooting for him as a character, and because of that, I think he was a fantastic lead character for this movie. Rebecca Ferguson is really great as Lady Jessica. She's, of course, Paul's mom, and their relationship, I think, really worked well, and I really bought them as this mother-son duo. They're kind of at the forefront the entire movie, and both of them are kind of in the focus. So because of that, because I like both of their characters, I was invested in what was going on, which made the story more enjoyable for me. I also thought the other side characters were pretty good. Oscar Isaac was great as Duke Leto. He's, of course, Paul's father. And even though he's not in the movie for too much, when he's there, I really enjoyed him. I also thought Jason Momoa was great as Duncan Idaho. Josh Brolin is in it. Stellan Skarsgård is in it. And I thought all of them did a really good job with their roles. And I really enjoyed all their characters, even though they weren't even the main characters. I still thought they had a lot of impact on the story, and I really enjoyed all those characters. Now, of course, you gotta talk about Zendaya, and she isn't in the movie for too much, but I thought when she was there, she was really good. I hope that we get to see more of her in the second film, because I just assumed from the trailers that we're gonna see a lot of her, and that's kind of one of my criticisms of the movie. I just kind of assumed that she was gonna be in a lot of the movie, because she's probably the most popular person in the movie. But she's not. She's only there for a little bit. But when she was there, I did really enjoy her character, so I thought she was pretty good. So yeah, I thought all the actors in the movie gave really good performances, and I really enjoyed all the characters. And I think that made the movie feel very lived in and enjoyable for me. On a technical level, this movie's pretty much flawless. There's a whole ton of stuff in this movie that's just perfect. I love the visuals. I think this is visually the best movie I've seen all year. It looks gorgeous, and I think just for the visuals alone, it's worth watching on a big screen. It's great to look at, and there's just so many shots where you could just kind of screenshot them and then use them as your wallpaper or whatever. They're just perfect. I love the way this movie looks, and it's visually just one of the best movies I've seen in general, and easily visually the best movie I've seen this year. The musical score by Hans Zimmer is perfect. He's one of my favorite composers working right now, maybe my favorite. And I think here he just gives one of his best scores. Of course, in No Time to Die, he gave a really good score. But here, I think it's even better. The score for this movie is fantastic, and I think it really fits with the movie really well. It also kind of adds to the epic tone, and when the action scenes are happening and stuff like that, it's just perfect. I also thought that the action in this movie was really, really good. Now, it's not an action movie, there's not a ton of action, but when it's happening, it's great. If you're expecting this movie to be an action movie, no, it's not. It's a very slow movie, but when the action happens, it's great. Like I said, the visuals and music kind of add to that, but then just the sound effects themselves and the way it's choreographed, it's still really, really cool. So even though there's not a ton of action, when it's there, it's amazing. So yeah, I think that Denis Villeneuve made this movie to kind of get us invested in this world and build this epic world and kind of explain everything, all the different sides of the story and stuff, to prepare us to go into the epic second part that's going to happen whenever it happens. And I think it worked really, really well because as someone that knew nothing about Dune, I really care about these characters now. I really want to see where the story goes. And hopefully we get a sequel because this movie ended off at a point where we really, really do need a sequel to kind of see where the story finishes. Which brings me to my negatives of the film, and there's only a couple. I don't have any big issues with this movie. And the first is that this movie is definitely not for everyone. Not everyone's going to watch this movie and have as good of a time as I did. Because it's a very slow-paced movie, and it's not a big epic action movie that a lot of people are going to expect it to be. To me, I think it really worked because I really cared about the world, I care about the characters, and I understood what was going on, and I was invested the entire time. But not everyone's going to feel that way. I know there's going to be a ton of people that are like, I wanted more action, I wanted more of this, and that's definitely understandable. But to me, I think the world building worked really well, the storytelling worked really well, and the characters worked really well, so I really enjoyed that. But then there's also a lot of people that did not enjoy that, so there's definitely kind of a division in the fan base. I know there's a ton of people that really like this movie because of the world building, and then I know a lot of people that did not like it and wanted more action and stuff. And both sides are correct because that's their own opinion. To me, I land on the side where I really enjoyed the world building and stuff, and I want to see where the story goes in the future. And my second issue for this movie, which is really the only big issue that I have, is that this is not a complete story. This definitely feels like part one of two movies. It feels like it's setting up what we are building up to, so like the big epic finale, but we just haven't seen that yet. In the movie, when the title card showed up, it said Dune Part 1. So you know that this is not a complete story. When I got to the end of the movie, it just felt very abrupt, and it felt like it just kind of came to a close because it had to. So to me, what really matters is if we get a sequel. If we get a sequel to this movie, I'd be really happy. If we don't, though, this movie is pretty much pointless. So I really hope this movie does well, and I really hope we get to see a sequel to it, so that way we kind of see the story come to a close, and it's not just an abrupt ending. Hopefully, when we do get a sequel, when I go back and rewatch this movie, I'll enjoy it even more. But as of right now, I did really have a good time watching Dune. Because the story isn't complete yet, I can't really give a full take on the movie. But so far, from what we got, I had a great time. And I think this is definitely worth watching on the big screen. Just for the visuals alone, but the movie itself is great. So it's definitely worth watching in theaters. With all that being said, guys, I'm going to give Dune an A. On an entertainment scale, I'm going to go a 9 out of 10. I had a great time watching Dune, and I cannot wait to rewatch this movie whenever I rewatch it, and hopefully I'll have just as good of a time as I had the first time. Be sure to let me know down in the comments, what did you guys think of Dune? Kind of give me that point of reference. Are you someone that is familiar with the source material, or are you like me that's new to Dune? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed my review, be sure to leave a like. It really helps me out, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.